I'm Staff Sergeant Christy Verhoel with the Calgary Police Economic Crime Unit. The Economic Crime Unit Auto Theft Team, in cooperation with many other units across the Calgary Police Service, has laid 168 criminal charges against 10 individuals after an operation aimed at stopping an organized crime group suspected of stealing and selling vehicles. It is believed that this small group of individuals is responsible for a significant number of Calgary's auto thefts, which is evidenced by the fact that after we arrested just 2 of the offenders, a number of auto thefts in the city dropped by at least 40 vehicles per week. In total, we recovered 74 stolen vehicles through this operation, with an estimated combined value of $1.9 million. A variety of drugs, money, and other stolen goods, as well as 2 firearms were seized. Auto theft is something that the Calgary Police Service takes very seriously, especially since stolen vehicles are often used to commit other, sometimes violent crimes. However, with 1/3 of stolen vehicles being taken using the own keys, we cannot stop vehicle thefts on our own. We continue to need Calgarians' help and are asking everyone to make sure that vehicles are not being left unattended with keys inside, and spare vehicles are kept in a secure location that is not around the vehicle. We have charged a number of individuals during this operation. However, the main individuals charged are Tyler Roger Scott, 30, of Calgary, who is charged with 19 counts of breaching a court order, 1 count of possession of drugs for the purpose of trafficking, and 1 count of possession of proceeds of crime. Tyler Timothy John, 34, of Calgary, who is wanted on warrants for 1 count of possession of stolen property over $5,000 and 1 count of trafficking stolen property over $5,000. A photo of John is available on the City of Calgary newsroom, and anyone with information on his location is asked to contact police. Jason Howard Little, 31, of Calgary, who is charged with 13 counts of possession of stolen property over $5,000, 9 counts of possession of stolen property under $5,000, 6 counts of theft of a motor vehicle, 3 counts of driving without insurance, 1 count of taking a motor vehicle without consent, 1 count of theft over $5,000, and 1 count of property damage over $5,000. And Brandy Lynn Cordarelli, 25, of Calgary, who is charged with 1 count of possession of stolen property over $5,000 and 1 count of possession of stolen property under $5,000. Thank you, and I can now answer your questions.
Can you tell us what generally was transpiring? Like, where were they taking the vehicles from and in what scenario?
Yeah, so these vehicles were being stolen from a variety of locations, including dealerships, auto body shops, outside residences, auctions, residential areas, rental companies, and industrial areas where vehicles are stored that are destined for dealerships. We believe that the top targets in this operation were actually coordinating the efforts of multiple other offenders underneath the operation. And through our investigation, we were able to learn that a stolen vehicle was able to be traded for drugs or cash. What we believe then happened is that the vehicles that were traded up were either used to commit other crimes, used as transportation, or their vehicle identification numbers were changed and sold for profit.
Any high-end?
Yeah, we have a variety of vehicles that were stolen. We have a 1970 Ford Mustang worth $40,000 that was stolen and recovered. We have a variety of brand new trucks worth approximately $80,000 a piece that were stolen and recovered, and also construction equipment, ATVs, snowmobiles.
Can you talk about the length and the resources that went into this operation?
This operation started in February of 2015 and really couldn't have happened without the resources that we were able to get from across the service. So the auto theft team was the primary resource. We coordinated all the efforts. However, without the efforts of the districts and the units across the service, this would not have been successful.
Any idea how long these people were doing this?
These people are, at least we're doing this since we believe the spike of vehicle thefts that we saw in December of 2014. As part of our ongoing strategy with auto theft, we keep a close eye on those things, and that's how we sort of started looking at these individuals.
So Christy, can you just talk about, just kind of give us an idea of the significance? I mean, you make 2 arrests, and then you see this massive result. I mean, did that come as a surprise to the force to see this kind of, quick response right after these first 2 arrests here?
Again, the part of the auto theft's mandate is to really monitor the auto theft offenders across the city. We know, or we have a picture of who we're looking at, and our hope is always to keep them incarcerated, to keep close tabs on them. With this operation, it was not surprising that upon the arrest of certain individuals, that vehicle theft rate declined significantly.
Can you expand on that for us, though? I mean, to regular people, what does going down by 40 car thefts a week mean? How significant is that?
I can tell you that since December, we've been averaging between 120 to 140 stolen vehicles per week. The drop to 40 vehicles, so around February when that individual was arrested, we were averaging around 120 vehicles a week. So dropping it to about 80 vehicles stolen per week is a very significant drop overall in the picture of auto theft.
Any recovered?
Yeah, majority of our vehicles are actually recovered. When we look at our recovery rates, something important to understand is that when we say there's this many vehicles stolen, that combines everything from construction equipment to utility trailers to the ATVs and snowmobiles and cars and trucks. If we look just at cars and trucks, our average recovery rate is in the 90% range.
Any exported?
This group, we believe, was working in Calgary and area, and vehicles were being sold for profit in Calgary and area. No exports that we're aware of into other countries.
So
How
most
now,
of
how-
these vehicles, though, are recovered, like the ones from these people?
Yes.
And they're all fine? Like, they weren't resold, or did you find that some had been resold and you had to?
Right. So if we talk about the shape of the vehicles in relation to what we were seeing with this operation, the majority of the vehicles in this operation, and I'm going to tell you probably upwards of 85% of the vehicles were stolen with keys. So what does that mean? It means that the suspects or offenders, when they're getting into a vehicle, don't damage the vehicle. They get the vehicle, and again, it was traded up. Some of these vehicles were involved in accidents, some were involved in hit and runs. So that's where damage was incurred. But for the most part, when we were recovering the vehicles, they were in the same manner as when they were stolen.
So these are people that left their vehicle running, like to run into the store or something? Like, is that what the majority of these were taken?
Yeah, we have a variety of incidents. Some of them were left on the driveway with keys in it, warming up, or maybe on the driveway just with keys in it, not even warming up because we've had a fairly warm spring. Other incidents were at stores or coffee shops where they ran in quickly. Also, we had instances of vehicles being stolen from industrial areas where keys were either kept in the vehicle or in a nearby building. So what would happen is they would go and get the keys, steal them out of the business, and then take the vehicle using the keys.
How many of these were returned to their owners?
The majority of the vehicles have been returned to their owners or dealt with through insurance.
What,
I don't have a complete number for you, I'm sorry.
Christy, what about going forward? Obviously, this seems to be a very significant bust, but do we have an idea of how much more of the ring is still out there and operating?
Yeah, our investigation is ongoing, and obviously the auto theft unit will be continuing to target these types of offenders. It is a collaborative effort across the city as well. One of the biggest pieces that we are developing strategies around and continuing strategies on is the offender management piece, so that when these offenders get released, we can then monitor their actions and hopefully get them back in jail as soon as they start doing this again.
So these are prolific offenders. These are like people that this is what they do.
Yeah, we believe that this group is well known in the auto theft circles.
And is it for drugs? Like, are these drug addicts themselves that they're trying to do this to support their
No, I think as I explained previously, there are lower level people that go out and steal the vehicles and change the vehicles, exchange the vehicles for drugs or money. The higher level targets that the auto theft unit was concentrating on really are the ones that are coordinating those efforts, and we don't see as much drug activity with them.
So with these kind of ringleaders, so they would maybe be getting like an order from someone, and then they would kind of assign that order to their like minions, or could you give us a bit of an explainer?
Yeah. What we believe is that the top individuals in this group were coordinating others to go out around the city using different methods, check out areas where vehicles were left on a regular basis running, and then crime of opportunity, go in and grab the vehicle and lay it down around the city, at which time it was communicated and, you know, vehicle exchange happened and change of money or drugs happened.
Was there a center of operations or like a facility that these people were operating out of?
No, it's a little bit more fluid than that.
And how did you eventually recover the vehicles then?
What was happening is that patrol members from across the service, again, without the collaborative efforts of the entire service, we wouldn't be able to do this. Patrol members from across the service were recovering vehicles. We had communicated out that obviously as a service this was a priority for us, and we did a lot of digging that way. Others were ones that were found, you know, in traffic stops and things like that.
So you mentioned the 4 people that faced charges, but how many people in total?
As a part of this operation, we're saying approximately 10
And
that were charged.
could you talk
the
about the
4
scale of this for the CPS? Like, how big of an operation was this for the CPS to actually kind of dismantle? Like, would this be the largest auto theft ring that the CPS has seen in its history? Or maybe you could give us some perspective on that.
No, this isn't the largest auto theft ring that the CPS has seen in its history. It is a significant auto theft ring for certain, and I think as investigations go on, we'll probably be laying more charges. This is really scratching the surface of what we know has happened.
So you said 10, but there's 4 that you've charged so far. Are you still looking for more?
So there's been 168 charges on 10 people. The top 4 are the most significant members with the most charges.
Sorry, could you just elaborate? You just said that this is just scratching the surface. Can you just elaborate on that?
Right. I think auto theft, if you even look at the raw numbers that we were just talking about, we're down to about 80 vehicles per week that are being stolen. So there's still 80 vehicles per week that are being stolen. That's a significant amount. It's really important for the public to be aware of that. Keep your keys locked up. Keep them in a safe location away from your vehicle. There are some instances where you're not going to be able to do anything about it, and those offenders that we're seeing really aren't doing the break in the car and damage the ignition like they used to. Most of the offenders are using keys, so that is one of the biggest ways that we can prevent this crime from happening.
Does that change the nature of a charge? Say, you know, versus, you know, the guy sees a car running with the key in the ignition versus breaking the window and damaging to...
Yeah, you know what, it's definitely a challenge for the police and for the courts to not only charge offenders with that possession, or not as much as the possession, but the original theft of the vehicle, and knowledge has to be proven, so it definitely changes the game for us.